Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the WellPoint Studios here on this Wednesday, February 26th, 2025. February's almost over. Holy moly. 2 months, 1/6 of 2025. Already almost in the books. That's what happens when you're having fun and there's a lot of stuff happening. Time does fly. And we got a lot to talk about this morning. My special guest for today's edition of the Daily Pulse is Lowell City Councilor, District 3 City Councilor Corey Belanger here in the WellPoint Studios. Good morning, Councilor.
Good morning, Teddy. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. An interesting meeting last night that we're going to recap. You've been busy the last, really since you got appointed to the council. It's been very busy.
Yeah. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interesting stuff happening, and this will be our first chance to kind of talk since you've been back on the council. So looking forward to it, getting your take on all that stuff. Let me quickly just thank our sponsors here of the Daily Pulse. Of course, Ray Booten, licensed realtor, Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both of those states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, Real Estate Ray Booten is your man, and you can find him easily enough on the web. realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. WellPoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thanks to WellPoint for hosting us here in the WellPoint Studios. Thanks to Real Estate Ray. Got a bunch of other sponsors to thank as well, but we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Want to start with Councilor Belanger, and let's first start by recapping last night's meeting. There was nothing super controversial on there, but as always, a lot of these issues that you think, this is really nothing, they start to get a little interesting. First of all, backyard chickens. I know you weren't there. You came onto the council after the backyard chicken thing ended in 2013.
I was in that election in 2013.
Right. Some would say that was the year you first got elected to the council. That backyard chicken issue may have led to you getting on the council. A lot of people say that was the end of Joe Mendonça as a Lowell City Councilor. Has the reality changed at all in the ensuing 12 years that Lowell should be considering backyard chickens, and especially in the neighborhood that you represent?
I can say with confidence that no. It was widely opposed then, and it's widely opposed now. It's just, it can attract rodents and other infestation odors. And I heard from a number of my constituents, and that's all I needed to hear. So, no. So
there's your district, Belvedere, right? There's lots that are large enough where I believe it would qualify, right?
Depending on what the most spacious district in the city. Yeah.
I mean that Pawtuckettville, etc. So your neighborhood would be affected. Have you heard from people in the neighborhood regarding this issue? Is there a demand for free-range eggs?
No, I haven't heard one pro.
They're okay with going to the supermarket.
Appreciate it. I know the cost of eggs are up. I appreciate the good intent of my colleagues, but no.
All right. So when this motion comes back up, or this report, or whatever, you're a no.
The motion got shot down.
The motion got shut down in its entirety. So
the motion failed.
I thought I heard Councilor Yem asking for at least to get some kind of a report drawn up, and so that didn't even pass.
No, that didn't pass.
All right. Okay. So
it is a non-issue.
No backyard chickens, at least for now.
Yep.
I found out last night that trees are a big thing. Apparently, trees deserve their own.
Well, look at it. The trees are important, right? And the cities, can get hot, and you need trees. Urban heat zones, they call them, Teddy, is the terminology. So sure, while no one has anything against trees, but I think we're expecting some of us are expecting a big buy-in where you see in the suburbs where this is big, So I don't know how far this is going to go. No, I don't plan on giving it heavy opposition either. But if we can put together a constituent by the citizenry together a tree, I'd be all for it.
Wasn't the powwow oak? Am I remembering correctly? Do you remember that issue? Wasn't that a old historic tree in Belvedere that became a major battle? Would this tree committee be looking at historic trees or an overall tree?
Overall tree policy. Yep. Okay, to bring trees into the concentrated neighborhoods as well. Yeah, and. trees are great, but you got to keep in mind that over time, you put them near sidewalks. Well, guess what happens to sidewalks?
They ruin sidewalks, yeah.
They ruin sidewalks. I mean, there's different species you can use. I get it. So I'm willing to listen, but I just don't think this is going to go very far.
Does it need its own level of bureaucracy? And can't it fall under Parks and Rec or DPW or lands or whatever? Does it really need its own committee?
Well, we don't have a licensed arborist on the city payroll. We have staff that can cut trees at request. I made a motion to cut trees along Andover Street. So I think there's something we can handle. I really do.
Aren't a lot of these affected also by your power lines, cable lines? Aren't they something that?
Well, the utility companies handle much of that.
Yeah.
So that's good as well.
Are they not handling enough of it? Is that one of the issues?
Well, we still get complaints, and that's the first thing. This is not something I make motions for typically. I did on Andover Street because it's pretty widespread. Other than that, I'll make a call to the assistant city manager. He'll call the utility company if it's on them, or have our crews do it. I've already done 2-3 times already with one motion. So I think we got this internally, if you want the truth.
Okay.
But if it buds into something, then so be it, Teddy.
If it buds into something. That's a nice
pun
play on words.
Yeah.
Firehouses in rough shape.
Yeah.
There was a sense of urgency on there to the point where Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 at one point said if we need to go into the free cash to alleviate some of these worst places, I'm voting for it. Is that a good use?
We have about $3 million in the coffers toward this already. What we're going to do is prioritize, Teddy. The priority one, immediate, and cause a constant hazard for our firefighters. So those are the ones we're going to tackle first, and that's to the tune of about $3-4 million. So we can handle that, and then we'll come up with a 5-year plan or so to handle the rest. They're all aging. Some typically they're average to 100 and some 150 years old are firehouses. So what do you think? You know how good we are at maintenance, and the answer's not very.
I've been to the one on Mammoth Road there, which is where fire prevention was. I don't believe they're there anymore, but I had to go in there. You own a business, you go in there because you have to do some business. And I got to tell you, that staircase going up the stairs was. I was thinking of something. These poor guys who have to work in here, ladies and gentlemen who have to work in here. Not good. Should more ARPA money have been dedicated to something?
Well, we did buy a few fire trucks.
Yes.
Very expensive expenditure, as you know. So perhaps we should have done more. But this report, we just did this report now. It just came out. It takes months to come up with. So I think we can, with what we got in the coffers now, Teddy, and I think the next 5 years we can get everything to very manageable levels.
It's a lot of firehouses, though.
There's 9. Yeah, there'd be
9 of them, right? And some of them, they're so out. You talked about how old some of them are.
Yep.
The modern fire trucks don't.
Yeah, we had to outfit. Speaking of that new fire truck, we'd outfit the firehouse to get it in there. Yeah, and that was a significant expenditure.
Is this a budget buster?
No.
Taking care of these firehouses?
No, heck no.
So you're comfortable?
I'm comfortable that we can deal with this.
Okay. Executive session. I get it. You're limited in what you can talk about.
Yeah.
But when you went into executive session last night, there were 3 different items. One was the never-ending Salapoli development saga.
Yep.
And then there were 2 other. There was one group of parcels, I think 2 parcels that involved wind development potentially, and another one that involved wind development. So there were that's a lot of parcels. I think Lapoli has 2 parcels, right?
It would be one structure, but multiple parcels.
Okay, 2, and then there were 3 parcels in total for winning that. So that's 5 parcels.
Yep.
Are these motions related in any way, shape, or form? Is there a synergy there between?
I can say no on that, and I wish we could discuss in the open. Really, I just made a motion a few weeks ago, an update on the HCID district. I'm a district councilor, Teddy, and first and foremost on my district, my constituents' issues on a local level. But I also have a citywide mission, and that is economic development, to which I want to increase the tax base. Okay, so I've heard. Well, I was campaigning in 2023 about the taxes going up and up. Now, there are many fixed costs that we cannot absorb. We have to go up. Health insurance, salaries, OPED retirements that are soaring, we have no control over. So how do you combat that? new tax growth. So I have been a pit bull. I've been getting shovels in the ground down there. It looks eerily similar than when I left the council in 2017. And there are valid reasons for that. I'm not pointing fingers. COVID was a killer. We all know, right? So, but nonetheless, we're past it. Interest rates are still high, unfortunately. But we have a garage in that parcel that is a sieve for the taxpayers, costing the enterprise fund, draining it. So I want to get shovels in the ground there. So it was a very good update by the manager. Things are going forward down there.
Okay, so there's movement there.
Yeah.
What's the time frame? How soon will there be a resolution to the Lowell issue and to the other vacant parcels? Is it imminent?
You could potentially see shovels in the ground by the end of the calendar year.
On the Lowell project? Or
on one of them. On one of them.
Okay. I'm going to guess not the Lowell project.
I'm not going to elaborate. I wish I could. It kills me. I love talking about this stuff. It's one of my passions on a citywide level. And but you could see shovels in the ground as early as the end of the calendar year.
All right. So I'm going to give you my take as I'm watching this from a distance. And unfortunately, ever since the hack in City Hall, they discovered my bugging devices. So I'm not able to pick up.
You got ears everywhere, we know.
Sessions. Yeah. But I used to have the executive session room bugged, and now I don't have that. But my take is there's some kind of negotiation going on with Lowell. Is he going to budge and give us something closer to an 8 to 10 story tower, or is I'm done, buy me out and whatever? That's my take.
I can tell you negotiations are still ongoing. It is not dead.
With him to be a developer.
Okay.
Yes. Has he budged at all off that? Because when he came in to present to you guys.
The manager gave us a very good update, and he's somewhat confident. Not overly confident, but he's somewhat confident.
Okay. So. I want to talk more in depth on this when I bring up the word front runner in a few minutes, but has the front runner designation and the potential that comes with it, has that changed people's minds on what will and won't work in Hamilton Canal, and in particular Sal Lowell?
Not with me. I want who we got negotiations with. I want the manager to get all these deals done. Okay. Yes, the front runner city looks very good, and I understand the skepticism out there, and I understand that. Okay, it's a very large developer. Everybody's like, why us? Why are we so fortunate? And I understand that. But no, we don't know where. Okay, I'm told they're going to come into town on April sometime, do a walk around, and we're going to show them, and they're probably going to decide where most of this development is. So I'm not going to sit here with confidence that they're going to choose the Hamilton Canal. So I want to move forward on all the negotiations that we're into now. So
the city is proceeding on the various things that you discussed in executive session,
absolutely.
As if that has nothing to do with front runner.
Not with me.
Yeah. But you said this. You have some optimism.
I do.
And that the manager expressed some optimism that maybe Sal Lowell budges off the 5-story wood build. Might we get something closer to that 8 to 10?
I don't think we're going to see an 8 to 10 story tower in the Hamilton Canal at all. We could see it with the front runner city now. I think we could see it with that.
Okay.
But not in the Hamilton Canal. Not with, this is United Nations money. It's a whole separate category. Now, in the business world, interest rates are too high. And keep in mind, if you go above 6 stories in the construction world, it is steel now, costs soar. So I don't think we're going to see a tower from anybody. And I could be wrong. So I'm not saying we're going to take what we can get. We still want what we want, but we got to consider the environment where the economic development environment is at in Lowell, and hopefully the manager can get it done.
Does it make sense for the city before agreeing to any deal to just wait and see what the front runner city thing might bring? Because we're not going to see an 8 to 10 story tower, but maybe you will.
No, I instructed the manager. I want him to go forward. Teddy, we've been waiting. What do we got down there? You know better than anybody. You're right across the street, okay? We've been waiting. I don't want to wait anymore, okay? I want shovels in the ground, period. So I want the manager follow through full throttle in all these negotiations and try and get it done.
Shovels on the ground for some type of commercial development as well?
That's in the mix.
The wrong kind of shovels.
Believe it or not, the commercial development is in the mix as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Fully commercial or a mixed
Fully
use?
Commercial, yeah.
So that is in. Are you going to get in trouble for what you've revealed so far?
I think that's about all you're going to get. But
can I keep pushing?
No, I wish we could, Teddy. I really do. I don't know why this is it's a contracts. I get it, but this isn't like salaries or lawsuit that's detrimental to the city. This is about economic development and creating projects. And I wish it was discussed out in the open. I really do.
I agree with you.
It should be.
Again, it's you know, unless there's a legal situation, and that's why I was guessing for the longest time that there's some kind of legal situation with Napoleon and a standstill.
I will say negotiations are ongoing.
So potentially movement.
Potentially.
All right. I like to hear that.
I'm optimistic. Let's put it that way.
I mean, he does great work in other communities. That building that I went to for dinner with my wife in Haverhill last year opened my eyes. Why not Lowell? I wrote a full article about it. Why can't Lowell have that?
I believe it's the second largest developer in the Commonwealth. He's got to be doing something right. Yeah.
All right. We're chatting with Lowell City Councilor Cory Belanger on the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. It's Wednesday, February 26th. 2025. Councilor Belanger met last night with the city council, and there you go, some interesting stuff, and maybe he gave us a little insight into the executive session. I'm going to get a little insight from him on the other hot button issue over the last couple of weeks here in Lowell. First, I want to thank our sponsors here of the Daily Pulse. Of course, Real Estate Ray Booten, licensed realtor, certified appraiser in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. You can find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thank you to the Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell, Southern New Hampshire since 1925. It's 2025, gang. That's 100 years. Easy math. Even I can do it. What an amazing, amazing business accomplishment. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in Greater Lowell through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance. Trust your most valuable assets with the agency that's been serving Greater Lowell since 1982. And last but certainly not least, by the Massachusetts Pirates, who beginning March 21st for their second year, are going to be bringing hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. All right, City Councilor Cory Belanger. A couple of meetings ago, your colleagues, by a 7-4 vote, voted to extend the city manager's contract, and then threw a little specific in there as well, extended by 3 years.
3 years.
Councilor Mercier, the maker of the motion, she introduced the motion, and then she gave her speech, her reasons for why she wanted that to happen. The 4 councilors who voted no to extend it, they spoke, explaining their reasons. None of you other 6, you were one of these 7, none of the other 6 besides Councilor Mercier explained why the city manager should get an extension with 2+ years remaining on his contract. Here's your chance.
Thank you very much, Eddie. I appreciate this forum to do just that. For starters, you know, I want to talk about the manager's performance to my stay on the council, getting there in late July 24. You know, I want to talk about his mastery with the ARPA funding. Okay, he could not have distributed this funding in a better manner. Okay, every neighborhood, every block was a recipient in some way. Not one constituent I heard from is unsatisfied. Not one councilor feels their district didn't get their just due. I think he did it in a very considerate manner, where he spread this money on the public safety, education, lots of different aspects, and all the pillars of government he covered, so to speak. So I think he did a phenomenal job in that aspect. I want to talk about his relationships as well, which are second to none. Manager Golden is a very likable guy. Okay, he gets along with all the partners in the city very, very well. In particular, UMass Lowell with the Link project going on. Okay, they consider Manager Golden and the people that I talk to, other than the chancellor, doesn't know if this is going to be possible without Manager Golden at the helm. Okay, so just in those 2 aspects alone, I think he's done a top-notch job. I really do. So and I will add, this motion comes from a 30-year veteran of the city council, Councilor Mercier which I got a ton of respect and admiration for. You know, when her instincts tell her with the job he's done and what's in the pipeline, we need to hold on to a manager that's this competent for additional 3 years, I think it's worth listening to. So I agreed to the 3-year extension. And the uncertainty, a couple of my colleagues mentioned, and it's justifiable with the financial uncertainty, government funding. I get it. But there's always uncertainty, and there always will be. I understand that. But I'm confident with federal funding, we're going to get all our block grant money to help our neighborhoods in our community in a big way. I'm confident that's not going to be halted in any manner. So, and does anyone think we're not going to go without a city manager, by the way, you know, for if things were to go sour, okay? This is the going rate for a manager that is as competent as Manager Golden. Now, if I can just put in perspective to the taxpayers, because it's their money, and I take spending their money very, very seriously. So this fiscal year, he's slated to make $264,000. Okay. Now, if you put that in perspective of the city managers of our size and less, okay, Cambridge, for instance, FY 2020, $318,000. Chelsea, population of 40,000, less than half, far less than half our population, 254. Worcester, granted 207,000 population, much bigger than Lowell, 305,000. Chelmsford, Billerica, and Lowell, all our outlining communities, all at 230,000. So does this sound like a far cry from a manager's salary on a local level? And Chelmsford, Billerica, Drake, do you think they have issues like homelessness and drug addiction like the manager's dealing with on a daily basis? I don't think so. They send out problems.
Well, if they do, they send
their problems this way.
To some degree.
Yeah, right. So, and a posting that just came out yesterday, because I tried to do my research. Town, Holliston, Mass, a small town, about an hour southwest of us. A population of 15,000, seeking a city manager, starting at $200K plus, 15,000. Now, imagine the issues this job would be like Manager Golden going to Disneyland, a place like this for the money, and he'd probably get more than that. So this salary is very much in line in comps to cities our size and far less. So, and yes, the final 3 years, he's going to top out at 300,000. He's going to, the final 3 years that we extended is going to be about 3 and top out at 315. So, and every one of these managers have minimum 4% COLA raise, 4 to 4.5% COLA raises, where the manager will never get above what he negotiates with the unions as well.
Yeah. Well, okay. So one of the things I've learned in having this discussion, I want to go back and touch on some of the stuff you said there.
Yeah.
The manager did start with less money than his predecessor, Eileen Donahue, was making when she left, but that within a year that disappears. Part of that is step increases, I believe, of 2.75%. 2.75, and then COLA, cost of living adjustments, which, from my understanding, and you can confirm this, is exactly in line with what every other union contract in Lowell received. Correct. Teachers are separate.
Teachers separate, I believe,
but city side, every union, when they negotiate their contracts, they get that 2.75% step increase. And the cost of living increase, whatever that number is.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's confirmed. That's what the manager gets.
Yep, that's what the manager gets. Right. And I like to add, Teddy, that a manager's contract in the public sector world is very non-binding. Okay, so in other words, if he does something wrong that the council as a whole finds fault with, can fire him, no severance, gone. Now, if there's a change in leadership over the years, an election or two from now, where he's just not the guy, then you can fire him, but then you have to negotiate a severance and back pay or whatever it may be. So let's not forget, simply that a council just give the manager, he can ride the manager, give him a hard time where he's going to want out, he or she's going to want out. And you can, again, negotiate a buyout. So it's a very non-binding, document in the public sector.
Well, why the need to do it now? He's got 2.5 years.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
I don't think he's going anywhere. You know, he may not retire completely once he's done being Lowell city manager, but he's got other things he can fall back on. But he's not leaving to go take a job in 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Belanger or any community for that matter. This is probably his last stop as a town administrator, city manager. Why the rush to do the contract now?
I'd be glad to tell you. Now, we did talk about the Link project, long-term project, which he's got an outstanding relationship with the university. Okay, and recently the Front Runner City initiative, where Lowell was awarded thanks to the leadership of Mayor Rourke. That is a 5 to 7 year plan, if we can expedite it. So I do not want a change in leadership with all this going on. The manager has been in negotiations with all the players on all these fronts. And I don't want to be doing a local or even a nationwide search for a manager with all this going on. We have to keep the foot on the gas. It is very important to the taxpayers that these initiatives follow through. So I am not taking any chances. Again, I talked about job performance, and I feel the great job he's doing. I don't want to be looking for a manager in the midst of all these projects because they are going forward. In the Front Runner City, we expect representatives to be coming to Lowell again in April. And that, to me, makes it pretty official. That happens, it's official. Okay? So, no, I don't want to be... So now, if this isn't the time, when the hell is?
You mentioned the contract, and you said at the end of those 3 years, he'll be making, what did you say?
$315.
$315. Okay. Is that with just if you go by the 2.75 in cost of living increases, or is there another adjustment?
Well, that's rounded off because we don't know the COLA raises at this juncture. They haven't been negotiated yet. But that's what we ballpark. It's ballparked. Right. Shouldn't fluctuate very much at all.
Last week I had Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 here, and I gave the analogy of, when you got a star athlete. And I realize sports and, town administrators, managers is a different thing, but the price never goes down. It may go down that first year, but it's going to go up. But if you, had the Red Sox sign Mookie Betts in 2017 and 2018, they wouldn't have lost him for what it cost the Dodgers to take him away, or the Sox to trade him to the Dodgers in 2020. And a million examples like that. This deal makes even more sense to me. And by the way, I think you guys made the right decision, my personal take. But
I believe
if you can negotiate something that would even be perhaps a savings over what, you were going to see from a future person to bring them in. Is that something the city council should do? Should that be part of the negotiation? Should the council be looking to even create a savings there?
I think we've achieved that, Teddy. I really do. If we ever had to do a manager, sir, the salary is going to be this, if not more. So I think this is a very good deal for the taxpayers going forward. Okay, if you look at the number, the comparable cities and towns I've given you, it's per capita. It's dollar less, the best deal per capita, if you want to put it in that perspective. So for a manager of his competent level, what he's been doing, what we have on the pipeline going forward, the future looks very, very good. I'm very excited, very optimistic what we're going to achieve for the taxpayers in the form of new tax growth and tax relief for all of them. We can't afford to have a change in leadership. I'm not going to allow that. All
right. You outlined a ton of reasons why you think he's doing a great job. You talked about the ARPA funding. You talk about his handling, his involvement in Link or Front Runner Cities, and you talk about what's in the pipeline. I'm confused. Have you guys formally evaluated the manager? I know you just got on the council last July, but there was last week I saw the subcommittee, personnel subcommittee, and the evaluations were on there. And I've gotten conflicting information. I was told the evaluations had actually been turned in, though, and I was watching that subcommittee meeting thinking they were going to be made public. They're not public yet. Have you evaluated the manager?
We have not evaluated. We did that little evaluation form, if you will, but we just had a professional brought in how to formulate goals and so the council can do a assessment, if you will, over the coming months. But Teddy, we assess the manager on a daily basis, okay, on the job he's doing, issue to issue, day to day. And most of us are pretty happy. Even the for and opposition liked applauded his job performance, but no, at the end of the day was no. But, and that's their right. I don't want, but we are coming up with a better system to assess the manager, evaluate him. With that is in the works.
Okay, so the manager will not be evaluated again or assessed again until that new form of evaluation.
Yeah, we expect it very now, and we're working on that now.
Because I had received some information that those evaluations had come in that were due at whatever the time.
But nowhere near the professional level that you're going to see.
Okay.
So it's curious. We brought in a professional consultant to help us with this. I mean, the audit. It's kind of the auditor. We don't have day to day. We basically call when we have a question on a report or whatever it may be, so we don't have much interaction with. We don't know how, we're not in the office. We don't know how she handles employees, that stuff, unless we hear differently. So that differs from the manager assessment. The clerk, I think we're all satisfied with. We're very infrequent communication, but again, we're not in the office on a day-to-day basis. So nor do we talk to as frequent as the manager. So the manager, is, in the words of Councilor Mercier, is reviewed on a daily basis. So, but do we need to come up with a better, more professional evaluation system? Yes, we do, and we're working on that. I mean, look, Teddy, I voted for this, but I'm looking you straight. I'm going to expect results at the same time. So going forward, we need to come up with a better system. I don't deny that. With all these, fantastic things we're going on in the future. So that's what we're going to do, come up with a better evaluation assessment system.
All right. I want to get a little bit more into the front runner thing. You've talked a little bit about it. Why are you so bullish on it? There are skeptics out there. There are folks who say,
I can understand that.
I've heard this before. I've heard you and I have been talking about Hamilton Canal since 2009. Deval Patrick was governor. That'll give you an indication of how long ago it was in his first term. And still, as you said, go look at it. There's nothing there.
When Mayor Rourke, we went there in November to Toronto with the UN Habitat, United Nations. And when Mayor Rourke, he calls me, he goes, Corey, you should go. You should see this. It's very important. It's very big. It's real. So I had all trust and confidence in Mayor Rourke. So 7 of us went. A nice contingency went of the council. They were very impressed. It was a very busy agenda. We toured most of the city, all the projects. They turned a 15-acre parcel, which is basically the size of the Hamilton Canal, into a multi-billion-dollar investment. High rises. I mean, you got to strain your neck to look up at. Nothing like we see here.
Commercial or residential?
Mostly residential, commercial first floor.
Okay.
But in and around is community centers, an aquatic center, indoor pool, all community type assets, within the confines of the project too. But largely residential. Don't get me wrong. So, and Mayor Rourke wasn't wrong. So I seen it with my eyes. If it's real, at the time, nothing tells me that it's not going to happen. I mean, they're supposedly coming here in April. I'll say it again. So when they come here for a tour and, tour the landscape, see where they may want the development to go, it's real.
All right. So here's one of my areas of confusion. That meeting when you guys revealed it, the front runner thing, and everybody spoke glowingly. There was so much optimism, and all right, I'm sold. I've looked into Regent Park and all this stuff in Toronto. I've started looking into other places where different programs are being done. But there was so much optimism, and yet now I hear skepticism. Where's the skepticism coming from? I thought it was announced when the manager did his kind of state of the city video and presentation that an agreement was signed, a memorandum of understanding or a memorandum of agreement or whatever. So a deal is signed. What could nix? What could it be nixed, or is it?
I don't know. I don't see it.
Are these people? Did these people sign this, and did the city manager sign it?
Yes, he did.
So it doesn't happen.
No, MOU has been signed. Looks very good, Teddy. Looks very, very good.
So and I've seen their own social media posts where they welcomed Lowell as the first front-runner city in the United States of America.
Yep.
So Lowell is a front-runner city.
Lowell is officially a front-runner city. I see nothing derailing this project.
Is the only question what specifically that entails, or I just don't get the naysaying on this because it. And again, I'll leave open the possibility. Hamilton Canal, we've had deals signed and things didn't happen.
Oh, tell me about it.
Why are you so bullish on this?
I understand that the naysayers and the skepticism. I understand that. Why? I mean, what makes us deserve such generosity, if you will, right? And when we talk $1 billion, they're just going to come spend money, and they're looking for nothing in return, basically. So, I mean, things have to be done. We have to meet their criteria.
They're looking for sustainability, modern city type requirements that they have. I've seen this SDC, sustainable.
Which, by the way, we already checked 9 out of the 10 boxes. We went to Toronto. Well, like, I'm nudging my colleagues. We got this. We already do this. So I don't see anything
the zoning and that stuff. Most of that's already been done, from what I understand.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, and we got the MBT zoning in the process right now, the overlay district. So I see nothing derailing this project, Teddy.
And you said this is a 5 to 7 year.
I would say,
project.
Yep.
Is that confirmed from
give or take? Give or take. We'll know the details when they come here. We sort it out by May, June. This should all be finalized, and we know where the where and the when. Is
this something that can continue in perpetuity? So when those 5, 7 years are done, and however many projects are developed and buildings are built, can it expand? Or is that it, and then they move on to their next?
Perhaps they're probably. We're probably going to do an ask, if you will. I'm not going to want to see him go. I know that, providing I'm still on the council. I can tell you that, right? But we'll see. We're going to take everything we can get. We're going to push for everything we can get.
All right. I share your optimism. Let's talk a little bit about your district, District 3, Belvedere. First of all, you're seeking re-election, correct?
Absolutely. 100%.
All right. You have 2 declared challengers already, although I'm not sure one has filed his paperwork yet, but Belinda Duran has. We're working to get her in to do an introductory podcast. There may be others coming as well, but you are in. You're seeking re-election in Belvedere, or are you going to try for at-large again?
No, 100% Belvedere.
You're running in the district.
In the district,
neighborhood. Okay. You've been, and I've noticed a lot of your motions since making the switch from an at-large councilor, which you were when you first served.
Very district-centric.
You're very district-centric. So last night you talked about Shed Park improvements. Yep,
we want to get some money to improve on that. It's a very utilized park, and so is that for special events. And we got to make it ADA accessible and make some improvements there. And we're also in the contact with Jake from Banner Howard's office on how we can all work together and get this done. So that's exciting on some improvements in the district as well. We got a lot of APA spending going. Shed Park concession stand. We have at Cawley Stadium. No, it's an ongoing issue there, as we all know. I don't think you're going to see a knockdown, a brand new facility built at Cawley Stadium. Structurally, it seems to be sound. You're probably going to see an incremental repair over the next 3 to 5 years. But we're also very, very close to building a training facility and coaches facility within Cawley Stadium as well. That's going to be about $5 million.
Okay. Yeah. So with
locker rooms.
There's kind of a private group and committee's been set up, and I know your former colleague Bill Samaras has really been bullish on this. Matt LaLatcher kind of spearheading
very active.
The effort here. Is that and what they first proposed was really massive scale. And I think they talked about new locker rooms, concession stands.
Well, the training facility will have that.
So the training facility is that what it's kind of been like boiled down to now?
Yep, the coaches rooms, training facility, community room. In other words, I got to have a neighborhood group meeting there or whatever. So it's going to be a fantastic facility for. Again, about $5 million. It's the design phase is 95% complete, I believe. Most of the funding is there from previous allotments from the council.
All right, that's the $1 million question. Where's the funding going to come from?
Already been secured.
The funding has already been secured for the training facility and what you just discussed.
Yep.
Okay. Is there going to be an effort when and if that gets done to go even further? Because look, the stands are kind of crumbling in spots. There's some danger. It's an old
structure.
It's an old facility.
Yep. I mean, in my district, as much as I'd love to see a new stadium, a knockdown and rebuild, I think it's sort of irresponsible with the needs we have for a police station and the firehouses that we discussed. So I think it is the strategy going forward will be to slowly, incrementally do repairs on the main structure at Cawley Stadium. So we'll get it there.
Okay. I know you've had a couple of motions in not last night, but in prior meetings, traffic concerns in your neighborhood.
Speeding's an issue. Yeah. Those speed humps that you've seen throughout the citizenry may see throughout the cities have been very effective. They widely appreciated by the constituents there, wherever the street may go, on whatever street. And so you're going to see a couple of those on my district, on Fairmount Street, which is a big cut through that runs parallel to Nesmith. Very bad speeding issues. So you're going to see a lot more of those citywide, and we also allocated more free cash into buying more of these. So speeding's an issue all over the city, you know. So, and wherever we repave, like we did on Draper Street, we added speed humps on a permanent basis, not because these temporary ones we got to take down in the winter with plowing and whatnot. We got to remove. So when we repave a street and speeding's an issue, we can add those permanent speed humps, Teddy, which has been very effective. My constituents on Draper Street, very, very happy with them.
Why go the infrastructure route, which adds cost to whether you're doing it standalone or whether you're repaving roads, as you said, you've got to add a cost now to do these. Why not just step up enforcement using the resources you already have on LPD?
Well, you know, Belvedere basically has one cruiser. I mean, it's tough for them to be everywhere. You know, we can still enforce, but this is a more permanent manner, if you will, to deal with the issue of speeding. Okay, without having an officer there and tying up that he or she could be doing elsewhere. So this is a more believe it or not, a more economical manner, if you want my opinion, to deal with the speeding issue. All
right. Lastly, well, I'll give you a chance. Are there any other motions that you want to highlight before we let you go?
No, we discussed the improvements there in Duck Island about the odor issue that faced my constituents on East Merrimack.
Every time I golf the Troll Brook, I got it.
Yep. And so we're doing some improvements there. It's going to minimize the odor, and we're going to review it again in the spring, summer to see how far it's come. But that's important to me now. Those River Road, East Merrimack, which I grew up on, it was a lot worse then, believe me. Grew up on East Merrimack Street as a kid. And so that's another issue. But other than that, the district's going great. I think in my short span, I've gotten a great handle on the issues there, Teddy. And then with a laser focus on the citywide issues and what we have going in the pipeline, it's a very exciting time to be on the council.
Okay, and I'll wrap it up asking you about facilities. There's been a lot of discussion about a facilities department.
Yes.
For the high school, that looks like it's going to be a done deal very soon.
Yep.
In speaking to the manager and speaking to Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 and others who have spearheaded this effort.
Yep.
You okay with that?
I am. It's matter of fact,
departments just for the high school.
Matter of fact, it's Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 and Robinson that convinced me that this needs to get done. And I know how horrible we've been. We've been bad at maintenance for a long time. We've been bad for a long time, Teddy. So that needs to improve. I think this is the best manner to go about it. I really do. I want that high school. Okay, by the way, we went there February 15th, Saturday, toured the whole thing, the older 22. Oh my God. But it scares me, that 22 building, especially in the basement area where flooding took place from the canal. I'm very concerned about that basement. Seems to be a quote money pit. But the OPM's confident we're going to stay on budget. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
If they insist, what about a reworking facilities department, combining the school, city sides, and having kind of reconfiguring that department and making it a citywide facilities department? You're in favor of a facilities department for the high school. How about reworking it?
Absolutely. We haven't been much better at the schools, other schools either. Yeah, absolutely. I think this needs to get done.
All right.
I'm in favor for it.
We'll cut it off there. Lowell City Councilor Corey Belanger.
Thank you, Teddy.
For taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for giving a little bit of info about the Hamilton Canal in executive session.
Well, get what I could.
And for answering the question of why you voted for the manager's extension.
I appreciate the opportunity to do that.
All right. We'll get you back in here again. And since you're going to have plenty of opposition going
it looks that way.
We'll maybe get some debates going as well.
I'm ready.
All right. Thank you. Thanks to Councilor Belanger. Thank you as well for joining us here on the Daily Pulse on this Wednesday, February 26th, 2025. Tomorrow, we're going to kind of reunite the Beatles, or two-thirds of the Beatles. Leslie Boder is going to join me here in the WellPoint studios. Leslie, of course, part of what I call the golden age of the morning show that I did, my favorite years of doing it, the TLC show, Teddy, Leslie, and Chris. We'll try to find Chris Poublon at some point and bring him in as well. But Leslie Boder will be here, never shy about giving out her opinions. Lots to talk about with her. Tune in every day, the Daily Pulse. It drops at noon on InsideLowell.com and on our YouTube channel. We certainly appreciate you folks being a part of the show. We appreciate your feedback. I'm going to read some of the feedback that's been pouring in throughout the shows earlier this week. We'll do that tomorrow. Till then, everybody stay safe and enjoy another gorgeous, well, dare I call it, springish winter day, even though there is some potential snow coming tomorrow. Take care, everybody.